First off is superstar Billy Graham. Eldridge, Wayne Coleman, the real name, currently on life support. Doctors have suggested pulling the plug, but Wife Valerie has refused to do so, hoping for a miracle, which I'm sorry to say the superstar is absolutely going to need at this point, because it looks like there's just no real way back for him, I'm afraid. His illnesses include major infections in his skull, heart failure, diabetes, and more, and Superstar's serious health woes started in the late 1980s with a string of hip injuries and operations that led to his retirement, then a kidney transplant, then liver issues in 2010 and bouts of pneumonia, among various other issues stemming most likely from his years of steroid abuse, as well as other pharmaceutical goodies, which he's been very open with, struggling with over the years. I suppose best wishes to the family, but any particular memories of the superstar? I know you've talked about driving down the road in Florida with him and Dusty, and they were talking about all the stuff they were going to do in the WWF at the time, but any other memories of Billy and what he meant to the, or what his contributions to the business were?
Well, his contributions to the business was he changed it to more of a show business approach. Because I think he was, I forgot where he was from, but he was a football player first. He played Canadian professional football for a while. And then he got into wrestling, and his first territory was in Los Angeles. And he went as Billy Graham. I don't know where he added the superstar, but actually he was named after the evangelist Billy Graham. Mm-hmm. So superstar Billy Graham. Then he went to Minneapolis, and I think he had such a talent to get people excited with the body, and he inspired people like Austin Idol and Jesse the Body Ventura and all those big guys who did a lot of posing. And then he went to WWF and was a big hit there. And he was but as far as his wrestling ability, see, he didn't have to wrestle. He just had to pose and beat guys up. And he actually did the big man gimmick right. He didn't take a lot of bumps either. So his hips, I don't know where his hip injuries came from. I don't think it came from wrestling that much.
No, I think it was bone degeneration from, steroid abuse and whatever else. So, yeah.
Well,
I'm probably just hitting the weights too hard. Who knows?
Maybe, but I didn't know. He wasn't remembered for a guy taking bumps or slams or backdrops or hip tosses or arm drags. He was just known for, the guy with the big arms, and he'd stand there and he'd do that. So he revolutionized the business, and Dusty Rhodes patterned himself after the superstar because but he could talk. And here was a guy kind of backing up what he said. And when he came to the ring, it was exciting. That was a show business approach. And he changed all that. I didn't know him that well. Like I said, I made a few trips and sat in the back seat of the car and listened like the people are now, hoping to learn something. And I learned, what I actually learned from Billy was how political the game was. I think regular people have the notion that, well, if you can really work and perform, that's all you need. Well, you need more than that. You need the ability to politic in the back for yourself and maybe for some others, but primarily for yourself, and that's how you advance. Now, of course, we had other names for it back in the day. We called it, stooging in the back. But the guys were just advocating for themselves to get a shot. And there's really nothing wrong with that, except at the end, we thought, well, that guy's stooging everybody else off for what we're doing or whatever. But we noticed that the guys that advocated for themselves, they seemed to get the good spots and stay in the good spots.
When I did the podcast with Don Morocco, he always used to say, office is office and the boys are the boys. And he just, no matter what was going on in the office, he was with the boys and that was it. Was there sort of like an us and them mentality for most guys at that time?
Yeah, but it was like an unwritten rule. You know, the office was really your enemy, actually. Even though they employed you, that was your enemy because they had the power to make you money or not make you money. So you kind of wanted to stay on their good side, but at the same time, you wanted to watch every move they made. Because every move they made, of course, you know, to some of the conspiracy theorists like today, they had them back then too. And he made this move because of, and then they would see the steps that the booker had taken. But it was what it was, and we made the best of it.
I just one more thing on Superstar is I would love a lot of younger wrestlers today to watch Superstar because I feel like he would blow their mind because in ring-wise, pretty bad. He was not a great wrestler by any stretch of the imagination, but the persona, the interviews, yes, the character,
the aura.
I'm not saying that, like, as an example, was it Dante Martin who did that, shattered his ankle a few weeks ago? And no one even remembers it anymore. No one talks about it anymore. But Superstar could do one slam on the floor and an interview, and people are quoting it 45 years later.
Well, you can kind of attribute that to the era because it was still new then. We didn't have everybody doing a podcast.
No.
We didn't have all the sheet writers saying everything, this, that, and the other, and trying to detail everything and figure out reasons and this and that and the other. Because the people saw it on TV, and then they were left to their own devices. Now, they got so many other places they can go and hear it. But he came along in an era where actually a slam meant something.